No millionaire wakes up accidentally. That might sound dramatic, but think about it. Every result in your life begins with how you begin your day. And most people don't begin their day, they react to it. The alarm rings, the phone lights up, notifications flood in, and before your feet even touch the floor, your mind belongs to someone else. Emails, messages, news, deadlines. You're already behind, already responding, already chasing. Now here's the uncomfortable question. If your mornings are chaotic, why would your finances be calm? Ambitious people love breakthroughs. A new investment strategy. A smarter business model. A side hustle idea that promises freedom. You might even have notebooks full of plans. But if you're honest, the problem isn't information. It's inconsistency. You don't need another strategy. You need structure. Wealth is rarely built in explosive moments. It's built in quiet ones. The people who quietly build fortunes don't rely on motivation. They rely on rhythm. While the world sleeps or scrolls, they create a small pocket of control. No drama. No announcements. Just repetition. And here's the part most people miss. The ritual that separates them takes less than 60 minutes. Not 5 hours. Not a 4 a.m. punishment routine. Less than 60 minutes. The difference between chaos and control isn't intensity, it's intention. Imagine 2 mornings. In the first, you wake up and immediately check your phone. 30 minutes disappear. Your brain is scattered. You rush through breakfast. You promise yourself you'll think about your goals later. Later never comes. In the second morning, nothing external enters your mind for a short, protected window. You decide what matters before the world tells you what matters. The day feels different. You feel different. Small shift. Massive impact. Here's what's fascinating. Over a week, the difference feels small. Over a year, it's life-altering. Millionaires aren't special because they have secret knowledge. They're structured. Their mornings are not random. They don't hope to make good decisions later. They design their first hours so good decisions become easier. Quiet preparation beats loud ambition. And this is where most driven professionals get stuck. You want bigger results, but you're starting your day in survival mode. You crave momentum, but you begin in distraction. That tension, between who you want to become and how you actually begin, is the silent leak draining your potential. The advantage isn't flashy. No one applauds it. No one sees it. But it compounds. In the next section, we'll start breaking down what that protected window looks like and why guarding it may be the most important financial move you make all year. Who controls your first thought each day? It sounds like a simple question, but most people don't like the honest answer. For many professionals, the day begins with a blue glow in a dark room. Before your eyes fully adjust, you're scrolling. Emails. Messages. Market updates. Social feeds. In less than 5 minutes, your brain is flooded with other people's priorities. Now compare that image to something quieter. Curtains slightly open. Early sunlight creeping in. No noise except your own breathing. No demands yet. Just space. The difference between those 2 mornings isn't dramatic. But it's decisive. When you reach for your phone first thing, you train your brain to react. Every notification pulls your attention in a different direction. A client problem. A colleague's request. A news headline designed to trigger emotion. Your focus fragments before you've even decided what matters today. Studies on attention show that once your concentration is interrupted, it can take several minutes to regain deep focus. In the first 30 minutes of your day, that fragmentation compounds quickly. And here's the deeper issue. Your brain is most programmable in the first 30 minutes. In that window, your mind is highly impressionable. Thoughts settle deeper. Emotional tone sets faster. If the first input you consume is stress, comparison, or urgency, that becomes the baseline for your entire day. You don't feel in control. You feel behind. High performers understand something subtle: clarity must be protected. They don't start by consuming. They start by deciding. This doesn't mean they ignore responsibilities. It means they delay them. There's power in that delay. By choosing not to open their phone immediately, they create a small psychological gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, strategy is born. Think about it practically. If you check messages first, your to-do list becomes reactive. You respond to whoever contacted you earliest or loudest. But if you begin in silence, you choose your priority before anyone else assigns one. That single shift changes the quality of your decisions. Mental noise feels harmless because it's normalized. Everyone does it. But constant input weakens internal direction. You become excellent at responding and terrible at initiating. Over time, that pattern leaks into finances, business moves, and long-term planning. You react to circumstances instead of positioning yourself ahead of them. Guarding your morning isn't about discipline for discipline's sake. It's about ownership. When you refuse to consume immediately, you reclaim authorship over your thoughts. You give yourself room to think clearly before the world crowds in. Try this tomorrow: no phone for the first 30 minutes. No scrolling. No news. No email. Sit in quiet. Notice the discomfort. That discomfort is dependency leaving your system. Because the ritual doesn't begin with action. It begins with control. And control, especially in the first hour, quietly shapes every decision that follows. Clarity compounds faster than money. Most people wake up and jump straight into motion. Emails answered. Calls scheduled. Tasks checked off. By the end of the day, they feel exhausted, yet strangely unsure if anything meaningful moved forward. Busy, but unclear. Active, but not advancing. This is where the ritual becomes practical. After protecting your mind from early distractions, you sit down with a pen and paper. Not your phone. Not a productivity app. Just something physical. And for 10 minutes, you think on purpose. You write down 2 things. First, one financial priority for today. Second, one long-term wealth move. That's it. Notice what's missing. No massive to-do list. No 10-step strategy. No overwhelming life plan. Just one immediate priority and one move that strengthens your future position. The simplicity is the power. Most ambitious people fail not because they lack goals, but because they have too many. When everything feels important, nothing truly is. You spread energy across 5 directions and wonder why progress feels slow. Writing forces elimination. It forces you to choose. Let's make it real. Your financial priority today might be reviewing your monthly expenses and cutting one unnecessary subscription. That's it. Small. Clear. Executable. Your long-term wealth move might be spending 30 minutes researching an index fund, outlining a digital product idea, or reaching out to someone in your industry for mentorship. Not launching a company. Not doubling your income overnight. Just one move. Here's where compounding quietly begins. Imagine someone who writes and executes one small wealth move every weekday. That's roughly 250 focused actions per year. Over 5 years, that's more than 1,000 deliberate moves. Some will fail. Some will stall. But a few will multiply. And those few can change everything. There's a story of an employee who decided to invest a small amount consistently after writing it down as his daily financial focus. Nothing dramatic. Just automatic transfers and steady learning. 10 years later, that small decision became a 6-figure portfolio. Not because of brilliance. Because of repetition. Writing creates commitment. When a thought stays in your head, it feels optional. When it hits paper, it becomes concrete. You're no longer vaguely hoping to build wealth. You're directing effort toward it. And here's an important rule: write it before 9 a.m. Before the meetings. Before the noise. Before your energy gets diluted. The earlier you define the day, the less likely the day is to define you. This 10-minute clarity blueprint turns ambition into direction. It shifts you from reacting to building. And once you experience how powerful one clear daily move can be, you'll realize something surprising. Success doesn't demand complexity. It demands consistency. Next, we strengthen the foundation that makes this clarity sustainable, your energy. Would you invest with a tired brain? Think about that seriously. Would you trust yourself to make a major financial decision after 3 hours of sleep, no water, and zero movement? Probably not. Yet many professionals try to build wealth in exactly that state every single day. We talk endlessly about productivity systems, time management, and strategy. But very few people talk about the biological foundation behind good decisions. Before discipline becomes financial, it's physical. If your energy is low, your thinking narrows. When you're fatigued, your brain looks for shortcuts. It prefers immediate rewards over long-term gains. That's not a mindset flaw, it's chemistry. Elevated cortisol levels from stress and poor sleep can increase impulsive behavior. That impulsive behavior shows up in spending, trading, reacting, and quitting too early. Energy isn't just about feeling good. It's about thinking clearly. This is why the ritual doesn't jump straight from clarity to work. It inserts a simple activation phase. 5 to 15 minutes. Nothing extreme. No complicated routines. Just 3 basic actions: water, movement, breathing. Start with hydration. After hours of sleep, your body is dehydrated. Even mild dehydration can affect focus and mood. A large glass of water immediately signals wakefulness to your system. It sounds small because it is small. But small signals compound. Then movement. Not an intense workout unless you want one. Just enough to raise your heart rate slightly. Push-ups. A brisk walk. Light stretching. A few bodyweight squats. Movement increases blood flow to the brain. Blood flow increases alertness. Alertness sharpens judgment. Finally, controlled breathing. Slow, deep breaths. Inhale through your nose, hold briefly, exhale slowly. This regulates your nervous system. It lowers unnecessary stress and centers attention. Instead of starting the day in tension, you begin in control. Professionals often sacrifice these basics in the name of efficiency. They wake up and immediately dive into tasks, believing speed equals progress. But what's the cost of operating at 60% mental clarity? One poor financial decision can erase weeks of effort. Millionaires treat their bodies like performance assets. An athlete wouldn't compete without warming up. Yet many people try to perform mentally without preparation. Activation is your mental warm-up. And here's the shift: this isn't self-care for comfort. It's preparation for leverage. When your mind is clear and regulated, you're less reactive. You evaluate opportunities calmly. You resist emotional spending. You follow through on the priority you wrote down earlier. 5 to 15 minutes. That's the investment. The return is sharper thinking for the next 10 to 12 hours. Wealth building requires patience, discipline, and good judgment. All of those are amplified by energy. So before you chase efficiency, build vitality. Because the ritual isn't about doing more. It's about performing better. 1 hour daily equals 365 hours yearly. Read that again. 365 focused hours. That's more than 9 full 40-hour work weeks. And that's from just 1 protected hour each morning. Most people say they don't have time to build wealth. They say their job is demanding, their schedule is packed, their responsibilities are real. And they're not wrong. Life is busy. But here's the uncomfortable truth: the issue usually isn't time. It's attention. Check your screen time report. Notice how quickly minutes disappear into scrolling, random videos, scattered browsing. None of it feels excessive in the moment. 10 minutes here, 15 there. But added together, it often exceeds an hour a day. Now imagine redirecting just one of those hours. The compounding hour is simple: 60 uninterrupted minutes dedicated to building something that pays you back. Not consuming. Not reacting. Building. This could mean developing a high-income skill, learning sales, coding, writing, marketing, investing principles. It could mean outlining a digital product, refining a business idea, researching long-term investments, or creating content that becomes an asset. The activity matters less than the consistency. The rule is focus. No notifications. No multitasking. No switching tabs every 5 minutes. One task. One direction. Here's where the magic happens. On day 1, the progress feels small. On week 1, still modest. After a month, you begin noticing momentum. After a year, you've logged 365 hours. That's enough time to become competent at almost any valuable skill. Stretch that across 5 years. 5 compounding hours per week equals roughly 1,825 hours over 5 years. That's mastery territory. That's the difference between employee-level knowledge and specialist-level leverage. That's the difference between earning for your time and earning for your value. Picture your future self 5 years from now. Same job. Same routine. Same distractions. Now picture a different version. Same job, maybe. Same responsibilities. But with 1,800 extra hours invested into a skill, a business, or a portfolio. Which version has more options? Wealth rarely arrives as a sudden explosion. It grows like interest. Slow. Quiet. Relentless. The compounding hour transforms your mornings from preparation into production. Instead of just planning success, you're manufacturing it daily. Before the world demands your energy, you've already invested in yourself. And something subtle shifts when you do this. Confidence grows. Not from motivation, but from evidence. You see your skill improving. You see projects moving forward. You see small assets forming. Time stops feeling scarce. It starts feeling strategic. The ritual now has structure, clarity, energy, and production. But there's one final challenge that determines whether this hour survives long enough to compound: your emotional discipline. What if progress is invisible at first? That question stops most people. Because when you start protecting your mornings, writing your priorities, activating your body, and investing a focused hour, you secretly expect something dramatic to happen. A breakthrough. A spike in income. Immediate clarity about your future. And when that doesn't happen in the first week, doubt creeps in. This is where most ambitious people quit. Not because the ritual doesn't work, but because the results don't show up fast enough to satisfy emotion. Think of it like planting seeds. The day you plant them, the ground looks exactly the same. The next day, still nothing. For weeks, maybe months, there's no visible proof that anything is growing. If you judged success only by what you could see, you'd assume it was pointless. But underground, roots are forming. Wealth building works the same way. The first few weeks of disciplined mornings don't transform your bank account. They transform you. Your focus sharpens. Your thinking slows down in a good way. You become slightly less reactive. Slightly more intentional. These shifts are subtle, almost boring. That's the point. Millionaires don't wake up every day excited about outcomes. They commit to process. They understand that emotional spikes, both positive and negative, are dangerous. Too much excitement leads to overconfidence. Too much disappointment leads to quitting. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop demanding instant validation. When you complete your compounding hour, the win isn't external. It's internal. You kept the promise. You followed through. That consistency builds identity. And identity is more powerful than motivation. Instead of saying, I hope this works, you begin to think, I'm the kind of person who shows up. That shift changes everything. Because once something becomes part of who you are, it no longer depends on how you feel. There will be days when the work feels pointless. Days when the numbers don't move. Days when opportunities fall through. On those days, your job is not to chase a new strategy. Your job is to protect the ritual. Compounding demands patience. Investments fluctuate before they grow. Skills feel clumsy before they become valuable. Businesses struggle before they stabilize. Slow beginnings are not signs of failure, they're signs of foundation building. If you measure progress only by money, you'll quit too early. If you measure progress by consistency, you'll stay long enough to win. The ritual works quietly. It doesn't announce results. It builds capacity. And capacity eventually produces outcomes. When you detach from immediate rewards, you free yourself from emotional volatility. You stop riding highs and lows. You become steady. And steady people, over long periods of time, become wealthy. Wealth is a reflection of who you are daily. Not who you wish you were. Not who you plan to become next year. Who you are when the alarm rings. Who you are when no one is watching. Who you are in that quiet first hour. Up until now, the morning ritual might have sounded like a strategy. A useful system. A productivity tool. But its real power is deeper than that. It's not something you do. It's something you become. Most people chase millionaire status like it's a finish line. They focus on the number, the lifestyle, the visible reward. But numbers are outcomes. Identity is the cause. If you repeatedly protect your mornings, choose clarity over chaos, energy over exhaustion, focus over distraction, and patience over impulse, you are no longer just trying to build wealth. You are becoming a builder. And builders think differently. They don't wake up asking, how do I get rich quickly? They wake up asking, what can I build today? That shift sounds small, but it changes your posture toward life. You stop looking for shortcuts. You start stacking bricks. Now picture yourself 1 year from today. 365 mornings. Even if you miss some and complete 200 of them with intention, that's 200 days of clarity, activation, and compounding work. 200 deposits into your skill set. 200 moments of choosing discipline over distraction. Do you think you would feel the same? Think the same? Earn the same? Probably not. Confidence would feel quieter but stronger. Your decision-making sharper. Your tolerance for noise lower. Your standards higher. Not because you attended a seminar. Not because you found a secret. But because you practiced alignment daily. Repetition turns effort into normal behavior. What feels difficult at first becomes automatic. You no longer debate whether to scroll first thing in the morning. You no longer argue with yourself about doing the compounding hour. It's simply who you are. This is where wealth begins to feel inevitable. Not guaranteed overnight, but inevitable over time. So here's the only instruction that matters now, tomorrow morning, before your phone. Before notifications. Before headlines. Before anyone else's agenda touches your mind. Protect your first hour. Sit in silence. Write your priority. Activate your body. Build for one focused hour. Don't announce it. Don't dramatize it. Just do it. Because transformation rarely starts with noise. It starts quietly. In early light. In small decisions repeated. And one day, when the results finally show, they won't feel surprising. They'll feel earned.